Where is my horse, Moreno?
You know exactly what happened to it, Cortez. It died that night you caught me in Azteca.
Do you take me for a fool? I know for certain it did not simply die by my hand. Otherwise, its hide would have adorned my captain's quarters, or at the very least been made into a useful satchel for my saddle.
You dare insinuate I lie about such a thing?
I won't even call your 800-year predecessors honest, if you're in their lineage. Don't posture to me, Moreno. You seem to forget your place. You thought you could keep me out. You thought you could hide from the master that not only gave you life, but also everything you have. And after I took you in as if you were my own son.
Get out of my head.
Such a weakling you've turned out to be, Alejandro. And after you showed such promise. Don't interfere, half-wit.
Get that! As your sire, I order you to stand down and stay silent. Let me handle this.
You'll do well to heed his warnings. Wouldn't want my best bargaining chip to expire so soon. I'll ask you again. Where is my horse? You never did learn how to choose your battles, did you, boy? So eager to protect a phantom instead of your own flesh and blood.
Cortez, leave her out of this.
Don't worry. I'll cause her no harm. For now. I'll make this simple for you to understand. Since you won't tell me where my horse is, then I will be expecting you to find it for me and bring it to me personally. That horse is the key to my rightful place as king, and I won't let anyone stand in my way. Not even a sniveling, pathetic gutter snipe like you, or your roid-rage dimwit of a brother.
And if I refuse?
I knew it. If my horse is not brought to me by the winter solstice, then you will leave me no other choice than to rid you of your sire title and claim your little snack here for myself.
You stay away from her!
Better yet, I think I'll gift her to Esteban as his new impish little plaything. No doubt she will be his favorite over every other toy in his collection.
Neither he nor you will lay claim to any part of her. Not while I still live and breathe.
Put those fangs away and heed my word, esclavo. You will bring me my horse by the solstice. If you value hers or your life, you will follow my orders. ¿Ha quedado claro? I said,
Sí, sí. Padre Cortez.
Good.
He's gone. I can hear your thoughts, querida. You don't have to stay silent any longer. I prayed this day would never come. Not that God would listen to someone like me after every sin I've committed in my centuries. But I still hoped. And now, I fear I must break the one promise I swore would die alongside me in the end. His horse is very much alive. Alive, yet not. Have you ever heard of night terrors? Night terrors are creatures like you and me. They feed on the blood of others, yet they have no conscience or moral compass of any kind. Their only instinct is to kill. But one night terror, the one that started everything, didn't start out as a bloodthirsty killer. The first night terror to be created was a warhorse stallion by the name of Aurelio. Aurelio was my most prized stallion. He knew me just as well as I knew him. I raised him myself when he was just a tiny foal. But over the years, I trained him to be one of the best performers in the ring, and was on his way to being the best blue roan breeder in the country. We were practically inseparable. But after my parents made their deal with Cortez, I was torn. I knew my father wouldn't know how to handle Aurelio, and my mother didn't dare touch the horses to begin with. Aurelio was practically my brother, and I couldn't do anything but bring him with us. Little did I know, Cortez had already set his sights on Aurelio as his own mount. While I was distracted with the other horses, he had Aurelio stowed away on his ship in a hidden compartment below deck. Imagine my surprise when, that first night at sea, I gazed upon what I thought was a phantom horse thrashing in the middle of the ship, with a rag over his eyes, his legs shackled together, and a terrible iron bit tearing his mouth to shreds. When I went to Cortez asking how Aurelio got on board, I was dismissed, told I was seeing things, and to never bring it up again, lest I wanted another lashing. But I knew what I saw, and from then on, I watched over Aurelio in secret, cared for him below deck while Cortez and the men were sleeping. We docked in Azteca to plunder the local villages for their gold and steal their women. Cortez, he took Aurelio to the shore, but treated him like he was no more than scum under his armored heel. He tore at his face with the bit, jabbed and impaled him with those spiked spurs. The worst one, though, was when I witnessed Cortez pull so hard on the reins, Aurelio reared and fell over backwards on himself, throwing Cortez to the ground in the process. Cortez beat him with a whip for that, for 5 solid days and nights, and I could do nothing but watch. My brother was getting tortured in front of me, and I felt I could do nothing. Cortez commanded me not to interfere with his horse or his treatment, and being his bloodborn, I had no other choice than to obey. On the 5th night, I decided it was time for us to escape. No longer would I be under his control, and no longer would Aurelio suffer. I grabbed Aurelio, and as quietly as I could manage, we set off into the nearby forest and left Cortez and his camp behind. I should have known it wouldn't have been that easy. Cortez knew what I was planning from the beginning, thanks to his control over my mind and his reading my thoughts. He followed us until we came to a clearing at the Tribute Mountains. Because I deserted him and went against his orders, he thought to teach me a lesson. And when he realized which horse I stole, his punishment turned into one that I still suffer to this day. He sliced Aurelio's throat and plunged his dagger straight into his heart. I can still hear his cries of pain as he lay dying on the ground. I can also still hear Cortez's evil bouts of laughter as I cried over Aurelio. He left me there to ponder my decisions as Aurelio died in my arms. But I wasn't about to let him go without a fight. So I fed Aurelio my blood, thinking if I turned him into a vampire, everything would be all right. But I'm sure you're noticing a pattern here. I would never know how wrong I was, though, until 4 years later. I had already escaped Cortez and had gone into hiding. I moved more inland, further than he could ever hope to travel with his human crew. I lived amongst the people as one of their own, as an unlearned vagrant at times, staying amongst the trees, avoiding open spaces, and more often than not, changing my name to fit the people around me so I looked less like an outsider. By that 4th year, I was living in Agajusta, a small native village in the middle of the Colorado mountains. I was out with a friend hunting deer and predators for their hide and meat for the village. I went off on my own, preferring to hunt as myself. I was tracking a great grizzly bear that had been terrorizing the rivers and destroying our traps. But when I came upon it, I noticed something else. Next to its paw prints were hoof prints. Horses weren't native to this part of America at this time, and Cortez still hadn't shown any sign of following me. But the scent was familiar to me somehow, and when I followed the tracks and the scent, I saw it with my own eyes. Amongst the trees, hiding from view to a normal human, was Aurelio. He recognized me right away, and my sire instincts recognized him as my creation. I called for him, and he followed. His scars from Cortez had healed over, and his whinnies had morphed into a sire's reverberance. I swore I would protect him, and now that I had found him alive, I wasn't going to let anything happen to him ever again. Aurelio was by my side from that point forward. He was my mode of transport when I had to keep the human facade, and it didn't take me long to learn everything about this new Aurelio. He was as bloodthirsty as I was, but he wasn't as picky about where his food came from. He was ruthless, and a lot more protective of me than he was when he was mortal. I couldn't understand it, but until one night, my hunting friend had stumbled into Aurelio's corral. He had attempted to harm Aurelio for some reason, but before I could get a chance to question him or find out why, I witnessed Aurelio devour this man piece by piece until there was nothing left. The whole village heard the screams of the man and the nearly demonic cries of a ghostly horse. Stories circulated from then on about a demon horse spirit that would eat you alive if you went wandering in the night alone. That story grew in popularity with the other tribes and villages, and soon enough, more stories came forth of sightings of Aurelio and other animals like him. Most of them predators, just acting on their natural instincts, and, as far as I knew at the time, Aurelio couldn't create others like him. So, fearing these stories would reach Cortez soon enough, I made the difficult decision to let Aurelio free. He didn't want to, but as his sire, I commanded him to leave me and to stay away from people unless his survival was at risk. I told him to never find me, and to always keep running. When he nodded and snorted in response, I knew I would be the only one to command him. I promised him I would keep him safe, and to do that, he needed to stay away. That was over 700 years ago, and ever since, I haven't seen hide or hair of Aurelio. But now I have to try and find him. Finding a wild horse is hard enough, querida. Finding a wild night terror with the same abilities you and I do with free roam of the entire North and South continents? I honestly wouldn't know where to start. And being he's under my command to always keep running and to never let me find him, this task is even more of an impossibility. I won't sacrifice you for something like that. You are my main priority, and I will never let Esteban or Cortez lay their hands or their fangs on you ever again. If I know Cortez, he does enjoy a good fight of mind and wills. And if I know you are never one to back down from a fight, no matter how dangerous. Speaking of which, we have more work to do on your fighting technique. Go ahead and grab the daggers from the upstairs closet. I think it's time I taught you how to fight with weapons other than your fangs.
Aurelio, estás en peligro. Encuéntrame y obedece mi orden. It's time to finish what we started.